That is a good confession for us to make tonight. You alone are God. It seems very simple, but it carries with it tremendous ramifications. And that's what I'd like for us to think about tonight. I'm Louie, if we haven't met, and I just came in with my wife from Germany, and we actually just arrived today. And I'm very big in Germany, and so I have to travel there several times a year, and we just had one of our monthly trips there. It was huge. It was amazing. We barely got out of there, yeah? And it's a very amazing time. Munich, Dusseldorf, we were all over. Last year, when we were here, not last year, 2 years ago, when I was here at least, God was saying something that I just never got away from. It's not terribly unusual for me because I just have a couple of things that I seem to keep saying over and over. I found a long time ago that if you hear yourself speak enough, which I think I probably have by now, you discover what it is God put you on the earth to say. And typically that's not a lot. He usually gives each of us something to say. And we may speak on 100 different topics, but at the end of the day, we're still saying the same thing. And sometimes when you walk away from a deal, you think, okay, that was for them, and that was for that moment, and that was for then. And other times you walk away and you just never get away from it. And Colorado Springs was a never get away from it moment. If you were in that place, the Broadmoor, maybe you felt the same way, but I came away with this compelling understanding that my name is I am not. Now that's a corollary and a byproduct of what we just sang, which is you alone are God. If you alone are God, translation, I am not God, and so I should stop acting like God. Now you say, well, who's acting like God? All of us are all the time acting like God. In fact, our biggest dilemma in life is trying to get God on our agenda. And if we could get God, and when we do get God on our agenda, wow! Now everything's cooking along. I mean, it's one thing to try to get your neighbor on your agenda, or to try to get your wife on your agenda, or crying out loud to get your kids on your agenda, or to get your pastor on your agenda, or the deacons on your agenda, or the youth group on your agenda, or the network in your city on your agenda. But if you can get God on your agenda, you are cooking big time. And so our prayer list basically are subtle forms, kind ways of telling God how to get on our agenda. We always talk first, and if we listen at all, it's always second. We never listen first and talk later. It's always me first, you respond, not I'm here, I'm available, I'm listening, you talk, and if necessary, I'll say something at the end, but I might not need to say anything after you talk because it might be like, got it. And tonight I think God wants to bring part 2 to that, 2 years later. It's not that I couldn't come up with something else to say. It's just that God has so compellingly riveted into my heart something that is floorboarding me. And so I tell you up front, I'm failing this talk. And I know, and that's not one of these, fake humility kind of things to try to buy my way in on your turf. I'm just telling you, and in a way, that's not even funny to me to say that because it's like all the jokes that fall out of that. So if you want me not to speak, just let me know now, or maybe you should speak. It's just pathetic to think that I'm getting this and I'm having to sit buckled down with it to say, God, help me get this. And I just said, to say to you that I'm in the process of trying to get my life around what God is saying tonight. And if that in some way disqualifies me from saying it, I pray that you just forgive me and have mercy on me in that. But it is not a new thing. So if you're ready to write some, grand spanking new idea on your piece of paper, it's not going to happen tonight. Because the way it reads in Scripture in the Old Testament, way back when Testament, the who's thinking about that stuff Testament, back in Exodus, second book of the Bible, translating something that came out in the second chapter of the Bible, is one of the 10 Commandments. Now, 10 Commandments, who cares? Because we've all been liberated from that stuff, right? Christ has come, everything's new. But even himself said, I didn't come to abolish those things, I just came to bring full meaning to them all. And in the fourth of the Ten Commandments, it says this. Here are the words. And you know the words. I mean, why am I telling you the words? Fourth commandment, hello? Remember. You got to love anything that starts with that word. The assumption on God's part is, you might forget this. Now, you probably, sitting on your row, living large right now, going, not me, I don't forget anything God ever says. But, a few of us have a tendency to have very short-term memory with God. And so he precedes the fourth commandment by saying, oh, and by the way, remember, meaning, hey, I've already spoken to you about this once, and we'll talk about that tonight. And now, in case you don't remember what I said earlier and that massive thing we did earlier about it just a few pages ago in chapter 16, now that we're over here and I'm writing with my hand on a stone tablet, now that would be something worth seeing right there. Now that I'm writing for you stuff, think of that. Can we just back up a moment with that? God is writing something down for us. Just think about that. And he writes, remember, the Sabbath. Don't remember to take a day off. That'd be a big sell here tonight. That would be a big, huge amen. I'm recommitting. I'm going to get that day off. I'm supposed to have it anyway. And it always gets shuffled out the deal because that's what happens in ministry. There are no days off in ministry. We're always on call. The needs are always there. People are always dying. The world's going to hell every day. What do you mean day off? Man, Jesus went to the cross and you're supposed to take a day off. Hello? And my pastor doesn't take a day off, or actually maybe he takes more than one day off. I don't know what he does actually, but I don't have a day off. And on my day off, my wife makes sure that my day off is my day on. And, I don't know what day off is. Sabbath is Sunday. Don't talk to me about Sunday. We have 18 services at our church. They're small, mini services, but they're services nonetheless. And we've got the multiple things going in 2 locations, and I don't even see my family all day. We go to church in 6 cars. It's just nuts. I usually don't eat. I'm stressed out. Come Monday, I'm like, and my Monday's my day off, by the way, but usually I'm in Monday because I got to get everything straightened out and get the stuff figured out and get the numbers right, send them into so-and-so. And so day off, I have it Fridays. I'm off on Fridays usually. But, Fridays I usually do email and try to catch up on stuff. But I'm not talking about day off. I'm not here purporting tonight, remember, you need a day off, because everybody could go, yeah, let's recommit to that. Fill the altar, flood the aisles, big response, huge invitation. I'm going to have a day off, for crying out loud. He didn't say, remember the Sabbath, it's your day off. He said, remember the Sabbath, it's a holy day. And I want you to keep it clear. No. I want you to keep it uncluttered. No. I want you, in case your donkey falls in the ditch, to leave him there and go, too bad, tomorrow I'll be back, and if you're still with us, I'll help you out on the road. No, he didn't say that. He said, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. I think that we forgot the Sabbath. And I think the result of forgetting the Sabbath is we might just go under. The psalmist wrote it this way in Psalm 34, verse 10. He said, even the lions, okay, you've seen the lions, right? I don't know about you. I've been to Africa a few times. I'm big in Africa, and I've been over there a couple of times, and you can see zebra all day long. You can see giraffes in the wild. You can be charged by elephants, which I have. And it's all pretty exciting stuff. You can see guinea fowl and, hawks and eagles. But you're there looking for the big L. You want to see lions. And oh my gosh, when you see them, hello. They are in case you didn't know this and haven't seen the movie, they are the king of the jungle. And so the psalmist picked them and he said, even the lions grow weak and hungry. But to any man, he makes a broad statement, who seeks God, to this man will never lack any good thing. I think youth ministry is about lions. I remember my first network forum. I don't remember how long ago it was. I think it was the first year Shelley and I were married, so that might be like 15 years ago, because that's how long we've been married. And it was at, I do know it was at Winter Park, and I know that I was like just a kid there. And I just thought, wow. And I'm not trying to blow anybody up here, but like Barry St. Clair, was like the biggest. I mean, he was like larger than life, And I remember it was a kind of intimate thing, and you could actually meet people and talk to them, and sit next to them strategically at a meal, and try to see him in the hall. And I thought, golly, I mean, there's like Barry St. Clair right there. I mean, that lets you know how old Barry is. I mean, I'm talking. I was just a kid, and he was still big. But and people like Dave Busby, for crying out loud. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like this little bitty, I don't know anything about anything, but I swear I thought I was a lion. The young ones, that don't know anything about anything, but they're like, come on, world, We saw a pack, they're not in a pack. We saw a group of 5 young male lions, 2 years old, which are very large, bigger than any dog you've ever seen, trying to take a baby hippo from its mother. Now, the hippo is really the king of the jungle for my money, because the hippo was like running over these 5 male 2-year-old lions, but her little baby was like frightened, and they just kept for an hour, we watched them, trying to get an angle on this little baby hippo, and every time that finally the hippo would have enough and just open her mouth, which was about the size of our garage at home, and the lions would like retreat, scatter, come back, but they had this determination, like, we're going to do it, we're young, we're aggressive, we can even do the lock-in still, we are on it, We're in the culture. We have the look. We know the lingo. We know what tunes people are spinning. We know how to work a Mac. I mean, we got it all going on, But when lions get older, they get this mane. And all they do, it seems like all they do is just sit around and just roar. And when they roar, all the rest of the lions go, oh, hello. I mean, the young ones go out and kill something. This is a beautiful picture of youth ministry, by the way. It's free. It's not the talk tonight. But youth ministry is a lot of young interns who hunt at night and kill something. And then once it's dead, the big main lion rolls in and goes, move aside, everybody. Big Daddy's here to take all the credit and get all the glory. Yeah? Is that the way it works at your church? That's the way it should work, the way I see it. If you get a mane, once you have a mane, there's a few manes in here tonight. And man, what an honor to be a mane. What an honor to be, we did see some big, full adult, Mufasa-sized lions when we were in Africa. And I mean, they are intimidating from 100 yards. They just look at you like, if I wanted to, I would just come over there and end this thing, but I don't want to. But if I did, I wouldn't. You're like, I know you would, and we're out of here. Thank you very much. They're just huge, and they roar. And the psalmist picked those pictures. He said, I don't care if you're a 2-year-old male lion and you think you can take on the whole jungle. And you're here thinking, man, it's my time. And I have such vision and such passion and such desire and determination for the kingdom. Or whether you're the granddaddy of this whole thing and somehow by the grace of God, you're still roaring and you're part of the jungle. He said, even the lions eventually will grow weak and hungry. But to the one who seeks me, he will lack no good thing. To the one, if I can just jump ahead, who Sabbaths, who makes a space in his life or her life and says, I want to stop and make this a holy moment. And in so doing, I want to remind myself that you are God and I am not God, and you're doing this whole thing and I'm not doing it. And the degree of Sabbath that we have in our lives is plain and simple, transcends, perfect correlation to the degree of rest that you feel in your soul sitting in this room in this moment. Sabbath comes straight out of a word that means rest. But it isn't rest, take a nap, although I know that would be a great word for all of us. especially you, Barry. And we want to dismiss you early tonight and let you get to bed after I was tired. I was like, man, Lord, please, I need a nap. I know Barry does, you know. It's not that kind of rest, though. It's the kind of rest that says, God is God. Simple, but so true, and so easily forgotten. So I'd like to bring, if I could, a little bit of the state of the universe tonight. Somebody else will have to bring the State of the Union. To find the State of the Union, you have to look around. You have to know what's going on. You have to be able to quote a lot of statistics. You have to be in touch with everything. You have to have the pulse of everything. You have to know what's going on with everything. And there's going to be a lot of that in these few days. A lot about the culture and a lot about strategy and a lot about what has happened and what needs to happen and a lot of synergy and a lot of thinking, praying, visioning, a lot of that kind of here's where the world is and here's where the kingdom's going. But the state of the universe is different from the State of the Union. For the State of the Union, you have to be on your game and you have to look around and be observant. But for the State of the universe, you have to look up. And seeking begins with looking up. In fact, I'm a word freak, and I'm doing this thing. It's working out sometimes. I'm doing this one-word Bible study method, okay? And it's amazing. It's revolutionizing my life. I used to read in the big highlighted passages, and then I found out that didn't work because I kept only reading the same passages over and over my whole life. So I stopped highlighting passages and started reading whole chapters and whole books. That was revolutionary to begin with. And then I started reading the verses one word at a time. And then I started doing a one-word Bible study, and I got to this word seeking, and I went, that's a cool word. It's a compound word. Translation, it's made out of two words, and the two words in seeking are see-king. So to look up and to get a hold tonight of the state of the universe is a mind-boggling, soul-altering thing. And I'm here tonight to stand before you on good authority and to say to you, God is doing pretty good in the world. I've checked in and looked up, and when I looked up, I discovered that things are okay with God. It's been a rough few months, but he's hanging on. And all is well with God. The universe is under his command. He said through Isaiah the same thing he spoke in that burning bush to Moses. To reiterate again, to make sure nobody had any mistaking, he said, I am the Lord. Now, that is not the proclamation of somebody who just came to that realization and went, wow, I got it. Say this, I am the Lord. It is not a competitive statement. Seeing a lot of other people running around going, I'm the Lord, 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 I'm the Lord of my little ministry, I'm the Lord of my little cubicle, I'm the Lord of my little neighborhood, I'm the Lord of our area, I'm the Lord of this particular thing that's happening. And then he's jumped in and said, wait, I am the Lord. It's just a self-proclamational, declarational, let everybody know that the state of the universe tonight is good because I am the Lord. He continues and says, and that is my name. In case you've forgotten, you can just call me that anytime you'd like because I am. We spoke of this in Colorado Springs. Name tags all abound. That's what everything's about. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? What's your thing? How big's your thing? Where'd you come from? Who do you know? Blah, 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 blah. And he was walking around going, hello, I am. And the best response is, hi, I am not. I am the Lord, and that is my name. And by the way, part of that little thing right there is that I'm not going to share my glory with anybody. Now, that's not because I'm like a hoarder of glory. It's because my name is the Lord. And one of your jobs when your name is the Lord is that you must ensure that you are the center of everything. Because the universe goes awry when anything else becomes the center. And when you're the Lord and that's your name, you say, I'm not going to share my glory with anybody else. And he says, and I'm not giving any of my praise to idols. I know who I am. I am. Literally, I be. Literally, be. Call me if you'd like. Be. And there is something revolutionary, and I'm not kidding you, to your prayer life. When occasionally, and I like mostly to call him Father. That's what Jesus taught me, and that's what the Spirit prompted in me, according to Galatians, and it happened to me at my birth, Father. But sometimes I call him a lot of other names, but every now and then I like to just talk to him and call him by his proper name, and his proper name is B. And it will change your prayer life when you come to him and you just say, good morning, B. How are you today, B? I worship you, B. You are B. Oh, I love you, B. To B is his name. And he's doing fine tonight. And everything's well with him. And everything's good in his world. The universe is under his command. I can give you a little heads up on the state of the universe if you'd like. I've just been chewing on it for a little while. And it comes in the form of all these questions we keep asking. Maybe you've asked some of these. Maybe your list is different. But I have sort of a 21 question checklist of my life most of the time. And these are the ones I seem to be steaming around all the time. And he seemed to have the right answer of the state of the universe. And here's the way it worked out for me. Maybe you've asked the question. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you'd like to. But here are the few of the ones I was asking. Who's going to make sure the whole world knows about Jesus? I am. Number two, who's going to make sure that truth prevails over evil? I am. Who's going to make sure the church of Jesus Christ endures in the whole earth? I am. It's going to cost a fortune to pull this stuff off. Who's going to pay for it? I am. Who's going to help me meet the insurmountable challenges that I face? I am. Well, if our ministry doesn't do it, who will? I am. Who could possibly be smart enough to figure this stuff out? I am. I desperately need something fresh. I am. Leaders are dropping like flies. Who's going to last? I am. So my family sells out for Jesus. Who's going to pay the bills? I am. No one has given me good leadership. I am. Who's pouring into me? I am. Nobody's listening. I am. I've given all I can give, but it's never enough. I am. I'm not sure who's really on my team. I am. If we bail, who's going to go after this generation? I am. If the network fails, who's going to get the job done? I am. I'm going under. Somebody help me. I am. Kids today deserve more. I am. The world is a mess. Who can make sense of it all? I am. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. I am that I am. I am the Lord, and that is my name. And I've got the universe under my command. The state of the universe tonight is good. In fact, it's better than good. It's great. In fact, it is better than great. The state of the universe is godly, and he is doing his thing. The psalmist said, our God is in the heavens, and he does whatever pleases him. Now, if that makes you crinkle a little bit, some of you, the State of the Union, you were going, whoa! Some of you are going, hey, hang on. What do you mean if, well, hello, well, thank you very much. I mean, wait. I mean, if we all bail out, then who's going to tell them? And if there's nobody to tell them, how will they hear? And if they don't hear, how will they believe? Because beautiful are the feet of them who bring good news. Translation, we got to be in the game, right? Wrong. Because God, before you or I came on the scene, was committed to himself, to his glory, to the preservation of his fame in the whole earth, to the accomplishment of his purposes worldwide and universe-wide. And he is doing exactly what he planned to do. He is doing exactly what he set out to do. All things are coming to his appointed end. He is never worried. He has never fretted. He's never run out. He's never been low. He's never been tired. He's never had to reload or refurbish or replenish or renew or refresh or take a Sabbath day, even though he did to show us an example. And God is saying, hey, come along for the ride of your life. You didn't choose me, I chose you. And I appointed you that you would go forth and bear much fruit, and the fruit that you bear would remain. But if you bail out on me, mark it down. I'm going forward with or without you. And if you bail out on me, if you all bail out on me, if everybody bails out on me, I said this and I meant it, I will build my church, and the gates of hell are not going to knock it down. That makes you wrestle a little bit because somehow you feel like it's an incredible tag team thing you and God have going, then you need to wrestle a little bit more with that. Because the mystery is not Christ and you, the hope of glory. The mystery is Christ in you, the hope of glory. And some of you are holding the deal together by the skin of your teeth, and it's because the Sabbath is gone from your life, and the Sabbath is a perpetual place to stop and tell ourselves again that the universe is under his command. And we can get off the CEO chair of the world and take a break. Some of you work 7 days a week, and I'll tell you why, because you're afraid if you don't, your stuff's going to sink. Some of you have a day off and you don't take it, but it's not because you can't take it, it's because you're afraid to get behind. It's afraid you won't be it's afraid you'll miss out on something. And he says you got to stop and look up and see King. And remember that God is God and you are not, that he is doing it and you are not doing it, that it is his purpose and you're just along for the ride. Are we important in the plan? I think we are. Just imagine that. Are we essential for the plan? I don't think so. Shut it all down. He said, I got rocks that'll cry out. Close it up. The trees will clap their hands and sing for joy before me. You think you got a good thing going? Well, when you get tired tonight and get down to the bottom of your energy and close your eyes and go to sleep, the heavens are going to declare the glory of God, and their expanse is going to declare the work of his hands. It's going on with God, and he's doing it. Has he chosen us? Yes. Has he invited us? Absolutely. Does he need us? Probably not. Somehow in the grand scheme of life, we've bent everything God has done and turned it on its head, and we've turned this one on its head too, and we've said, yes, you're the Lord, and you are God, and all glory is coming to you, and all praise is coming to you, but I am stressed, I am fretting, I am worried, I am perplexed, I don't know what to do, I am spinning my wheels, I am giving it my all, I am burning the midnight oil, I'm sacrificing things that are important to me, I am ruining my life and the lives of a lot of other people because I am not resting. Laboring, yes. Working all the while. Resting, 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 resting. It's you. It's you. It's you. When you look up and see the King, you see a couple of things. They're not new to you or me, but here's a few of the things that you see about God that let you know that the state of the universe is fine tonight. A, he's constant. That's why he said, my name is to be. I don't have a name that can be even dated. My name is active, present tense, ongoing, always in motion. My name is outside of time and space. My name is to be. Nobody has a name like to be, because in our world, it either is or it's going to be or it was. But I mean, everything's relative in our culture, in our world, in our existence. He says, not me. I am to be. I am the ever-expanding, always existing God. And I'm totally outside of all the things that you consider, to be limiting in your life, to be constraining in your life. I am a constant God. Now, that's just got to bring rest to weary people. And he is constant tonight. In everything about him, he's constant. In his desire to see the lost come to Jesus, he's constant. In his love and mercy, he's constant. His provision is constant. His life is constant. His rule is constant. He's in it for the long haul is what I'm telling you. Now we got a friend over here, one of my dear friends, and been in youth ministry, so long, so many years, and so much of it in one church, and I just look at that and go, that's what it's about right there. We've sort of bought into the culture, and everything's transient, and 2 years is a long time, and, I have a 5-year plan, whoop-tee-doo, I mean, we've got a long-term vision for our community. We're thinking by the end of 2003, voila, and God's going, whoo, long-term, blowing me away. I am so constant. If, and I'm not saying when, but if you do get tired of the rat race of teenagers and bail out for the senior adult ministry and more trips, more casual outings to the Christmas lights in Gatlinburg, then, hey, know this, I'm still going to be loving teenagers. God is in it for the long haul. Shelley and I just came in from London Tuesday, and God was telling us a story. We were staying in a part of London near Belgravia, and Belgravia is high-flying stuff. It's just hoity-toity London, just kind of west of Westminster Cathedral, and that way toward Harrods, Belgravia, and most of it's owned, the land, the buildings, all that, by the Duke of Westminster. I learned, a guy was telling Shelley, and she relayed this story to me. Funny story. There's a hospital there in Belgravia, and they decide they're going to move out to the suburbs because who wants to be in the inner city anymore? And little caveat there, getting ready for a message coming later. And so let's move out to the suburbs. That's where life is. And they just started moving their deal, and they were going to sell the land and make a mint. Because, I mean, this is high, big-time dollar land. And so the Duke of Westminster, whose family 200 and something years ago had sold the hospital the land, they're just sitting back going, well, that's fine. Move to the suburbs. We're happy for you. And they waited until every last ward and clinic of the hospital had been relocated, and the building was vacant and completely dormant, and the owners of the building were now saying, it's on the market, and voila, bring in the money. And the Duke of Westminster showed up with a piece of paper with his lawyers, and he said, by the way, when our family sold you this 200 what odd years ago, there was this small little thing at the bottom that said, if you ever stop letting this be a hospital, then we get to buy it back for what we sold it to you for. So thank you very much. We'll be giving you 2,500 pounds, and we'll take the property back. The English pride themselves, and rightly so, on being long-term thinkers. And they look at sometimes us in America as being very short-sighted. That's because, see, we weren't a country when the Duke of Westminster sold a hospital, landed at people. And they have this thing, and that's God, constant, and He's in it for the long haul. And if that doesn't bring rest to you, then you're in trouble. I'll tell you something else about God that you need to know tonight and remember in the Sabbath is that He's supernatural. So, Louie, I know He's supernatural. I mean, give me a break. No, He's supernatural. And even so, when God with a word spoke the universe into existence, He spoke it so that it would continue to create itself even after the one word He spoke was over. Universe, there it is. And as we've learned, it's been ever expanding ever since He said that word. Ever creating. You can, if you want to get a real rest, go to Hawaii and go over to the big island of Hawaii and take a helicopter over to the volcano that's been erupting there for the last little while, and it's making the 8th Hawaiian island. How cool is that? There's 7 now. They're going to be 8 in 2,000 more years. I mean, the earth is being formed even now. God just spoke one time, and however long ago that was, I don't have a clue. Creation has been ongoing ever since the one word God spoke. That's the kind of power He has. That He can just show up on the scene and go, I want to see this, and then He can move on to something else, and this just keeps on going and going and going and going and never ending because of the supernatural power that He possesses even in His words. And the goal of Sabbath is to get it right and to come and rest and say natural, 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 natural. And you know what natural does? Natural rests. Because it's natural. And looks up to super and says, I need more super on my natural. Because when super is operating in natural, supernatural happens. And I've been thinking that if natural exponentially multiplied natural, and natural on steroids became natural, and natural mainline and creatine became really, really the most awesome natural that there could ever be natural, that my natural might become super. And I forgot that I was just natural. And I just need to stop here for super in my natural. I need supernatural. I'll just close and say these couple things. He's glory bound. I touched on it earlier. He's not an egotist. He's God, and there's a big difference. Anybody without the name I am on your name tag that's glory bound, you're an egotist. And let's don't kid ourselves. The room's full of them. Let's be honest about that, all of us. We're pretty sure we want everybody to know what we got going on. And if necessary, we'll pump it up and blow it up a little bit. And a conference like this can be the biggest disease in the world. For both the big manes and the little young lions to prowl the halls and the exhibit area and the affinity groups and the dining rooms and to roar our little roar and to do the very opposite of Sabbath the whole time we're here. And to try somehow to come off being super when all we are is natural. You said, well, Christ is in us. Thank you very much. Amen. If we really knew that, we'd be a lot more at rest in our labors. But being that God is the only one with the name I am, that we won't prowl around the halls and gather around little affinity group conversations and huddle up with people and make sure that His name gets all the glory and that all praise comes to Him, and be fine with the fact that our names kind of get lost in the shuffle because He is God and He's determined for His own glory. If He was anything less than God, He would be like us, a humongous egotist saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. But He's God. You say, well, it sounds like He's stuck on Himself. Who else could He be stuck on? Well, what is God? Full of Himself? Praise me, praise me, praise me, praise me, praise me, praise me, praise. More praise, more praise, more praise. What is He like? Full of Himself? Absolutely. It's part of the job description of being God, is that you're full of yourself. And you command people to be full of you too. Because the most loving thing you can do is command others to make you the center of everything in their hearts. Because then you give them the very best. He is constant, supernatural, glory-bound, and he's able. Okay, here's the story. Here was the whole sermon. And I'm out of time, so here it is in the abbreviated form. And so Israel griped and moaned and complained. What's new? Now, we were back over there at Egypt. We sat around big pots of meat, fondue. And now we're out here kicking around trying to find an ant in the desert of sin. Just happenstance, I guess, that's where they were. That's what it's called, really, on a map. Moses! What's going on? You bring us out here. We're going to starve out here in the desert. What kind of deal is that? We're going to get out here, we're going to starve in the desert. We could have starved back. We're going to starve out here. Okay, God, the people are freaked out again. What's going on? Hello? Okay, here's the deal. We're going to have quail for dinner and manna for breakfast every day. You just tell the people, get ready, it's coming. Because I'm so constant, this is not a big deal to me. I've already thought through this anyway. I had some stuff going on, but all right, here it comes, but you're just ruining everything, all right? It's coming anyway, but you're just ruining all the stuff. Supernatural is about to happen. Your little natural, scuffling around what you can and can't do is about to hook up with something that's going to blow your mind because super is coming down on your natural, and I want to show you what it's about because I want glory. And the only way I see him get glory is that I come and show you people that I'm God, for crying out loud. When are you going to understand? Red Sea, I'm the guy who did it. Moses, I was the dude behind it. I'm the super on Moses' natural. I am God. And I'm able. So just tell them. And the next night, quail, and the next morning, manna. In the 16th chapter of Exodus, the 22nd verse, Moses said, and by the way, the Lord said on the Saturday, you get twice as much on the 6th day. Going into the Saturday, get twice as much because there's not going to be any on the 7th day. But there'll be enough on the 6th day for the 7th day. Don't go looking for any on the 7th day because the 7th day is a holy Sabbath, first time the word's ever used in the Bible, unto the Lord. It's time for all of us to shut up and quit complaining and stop grumbling and moaning and kicking the sand in the desert of sin and look up and say, wow, you are doing a very amazing thing. We've had quail every night and manna every morning. We're just going to stop right here and totally rest in the fact that you are, I am. And we're going to Sabbath here in a holy moment of saying, it's all about you, and it is not about us. And Jesus did not miss it and did not let it go by. And he said, I am the bread of life, come out of heaven for you. Stop. Remember Sabbath. 94 words. Excuse me. 96 words. Fourth commandment. I counted them. Okay, I was bored. I was really interested. I counted them. 96 words. You know, there's 4 up there. Don't have a God before me. Do not belittle me and make an idol. Do not take my name in vain, which does not mean don't cuss. It means don't flip it around and make it about you. And number 4, remember the Sabbath. 96 words. There's 6 commandments about how we live our lives with other people. 6 of them. All 6 together, 74 words. Maybe God was driving at something when he said stop and get off of you and remember me. Remember me. Lord, help us, I pray. Help us. Help me. Help all of us weary warriors and give us rest as we stop and see the King. And know tonight that all is well in the universe. That you have everything under your command. David's going to come, but I feel that the challenge maybe is just that we somehow fall into Sabbath. And I dare and fear any kind of, here's what we should do or that might look like. But what if we just somehow ask for mercy? To covenant with God. Not so much thinking about a year away or 6 months or what we're going to do when we get home, but just for these few days together. That we just remember the Sabbath. And we set our hearts in these days to just fall into the rest of the great I am. That we just put down all of our stuff, our names, our ministries, our failures, our successes. And we stop grumbling and complaining and belittling God with all of our little, oh, what's going to happen and how's it going to work and who's going to pay for it. And we just go, you are. You are, I am. You are, I am. That's what's going to happen. You are, I am. I am not. And I just fall into the freedom of that, God. I just fall into the freedom of it. And remember, sometimes when we sing, it's impossible to bow. I don't know why that is. I told David about it. I just observed it. We'll bow for a little bit, and then when the band starts, we start to sing. It's like, okay, that's over. It's okay to sing on your knees. And stay there. Our culture doesn't stay there long. We'll get there occasionally, but we won't stay there long. And I just issue the invitation. You take it where you want to. But why don't we think about collectively making a big, bold leap into Sabbath rest right now and just fall into the greatness of I am.